Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Spookoplathon reading vlog. If you don't know what Spookoplathon is, it's Becca from Becca and the Books TBR reading game. She's been doing this for several years. This might be her last, and there was just no way I wasn't going to do this. I've always had so much fun with her board, and she's so creative, but I have had the worst jet lag from my vacation. I've just been so tired in the evenings, and I've been working a lot. My classes are in full swing. I had a lot to catch up on when I got back. I also have to get my visa renewed, which has a lot of paperwork and is really stressful. If I don't get it right, I don't stay in Japan. And because my partner is my dependent, there's extra paperwork and I don't want to mess anything up, or he might not stay in Japan. That being said, I really wanted to do this Spookoplathon, so I decided to do the mood reading version that Becca has. I printed out the cards today, so I'll go and do a little rundown. So these are the chance cards. I haven't written on the back of them yet, but these will have different prompts, and then the other one will be TBR cards, and these will have different books I either want to read or kind of don't want to read on the back in order to just kind of give it some variety and some, suspense. It should have a little bit of thrill to it. Becca has a fantastic video going over the entire board, so I'm not going to try and go over the entire board. I'm just going to roll the dice, and wherever I land, I'm going to read her instructions and then pick a book based off of wherever I land. But I'll have Becca's Spookopoly video down below because it has all of the information you would need, as well as printouts, digital versions. Like she's got it all. She's got you covered, and she's got me covered. Right now, I'm going to watch different Spookoplathon videos to get ideas for some of the chance prompts, and then I'm going to go through all of my unread physical books and the Libby books that I think that are coming in now. What my pile will be is what the books I'll be able to choose from in the month of October. There is one book that I know I'm going to read, and that's The Phoenix Keeper, because that is our Draconathon Fable book. Me and my friend Soleil have a Fable account where we just read dragon books. I'll have the links down below if you'd like to join us. If you love dragons, we also have a Discord, and yeah, we read dragon books. That's pretty much the end of it. And this book, while it mainly focuses on a phoenix, has a dragon in it, and it's like a mystical zoo cozy fantasy. We take one book for 2 months, so September and October we were reading Phoenix Keeper, and so I gotta do that one. But apart from that, it'll be completely randomized. I'm just gonna nestle in, watch some videos, and then I'll check back in with you once I know what my prompts are. Just chiming in to say I was immediately wrong. This is why I recommend you watching Becca's video. Chance Space is the book that's on the card. The purple ones are the ones where you have a prompt. So whatever I said before, strike in reverse. Okay, I have finished preparing. I also went to the Discord that Becca has, which was super useful. They have an entire area for community prompts. Again, my brain not fully functioning right now. Thinking of prompts was really hard. Okay, the first one is spooky word in the title or a spooky cover. Then newest book on my TBR, physical TBR. Genre you avoid. I thought that this was a really good one because there are genres that I avoid, but I do have books on my TBR within genres that I usually avoid. Continue a series. I have a series TBR that I am trying to eventually get through. That would be really nice as well. And then the last one, 24 in 24. I have an entire video dedicated to the 24 books I'm trying to read this year. We are coming to the end of 2024. I should probably read more of those. I would love to do a check-in to see how many I've actually read because I don't remember much off of that list, but I will check it if I get that card. Then for books, these are only going to be books I physically own. In the light of day, I'll go over all of the books because I just took all of the books off of my shelf that I haven't read for my physical TBR. We have Crown of Feathers. This is by Nikki Palparetto. This would be a reread for me, but the only way I can continue this series is if I read this book again because it's been so long. I gave this 5 stars and absolutely loved it. I have the entire Owl Crate versions of these books that I dragged all the way to Japan because I loved this first book so much. I should finish the series. So I have that so that I could possibly get that out of the way, especially since if I'm reading Phoenix Keeper, I can just have a very Phoenix-centric month maybe. Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I recently thought that this was a dark academia book, and it turns out I was wrong. I know that people are not a fan of Jay Kristoff. I have the feeling of not liking him. I don't actually remember the controversy. Look into it if you're trying to, you know, be careful or whatever. Like, I'm not promoting him. I just have it. It was a gift. And I do remember being recommended this a long time ago. And I would like to know whether or not I should get rid of this, and I just want to read it as is. The next one is Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. I read The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, and I ended up dedicating an entire video. Don't go watch it. It's old and embarrassing. But a lot of people did find it useful because Merciful Crow was convoluted as all get up. I have heard good things about Little Thieves from people who didn't like Merciful Crow. This is a hopeful of mine. Next on my cards is A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. I feel like I would not normally pick this up for this readathon. I haven't picked it up yet since I got it, and so I figured I'd put it on this list to possibly push me. Kind of romantasy, kind of. I like cozy fantasy, but this is possibly cozy romantasy, which someone recently called my book cozy romantasy, and I've never thought of it that way. I always say it's cozy political fantasy, but I don't know. Read my book and tell me about it. Next is Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. I got this in an Illumicrate, so this is the Illumicrate edition. I will again show this in the light of day. I just want to let you know what books I put on the little cards. It's a vampire book, and it also seems incredibly gay, so gay vampires. I think it also is Filipino. There's Filipino inspiration, and the author themselves is Filipino, so that's cool. This Woven Kingdom by Tahera Mafi. I don't think I've ever read anything by this author. I got this as an Illumicrate. It's one of my favorite books to look at, and it's one that people comment on the most, and they go, ooh, oh my god, look at that, that's so pretty, what's it about? And I go, nope. Haven't read it. I have no idea. Recently, during Draconathon, I was told that there's a dragon in this, which has piqued my interest so much. There's something about this book. I never thought that there was a dragon in this. It never spoke to me and said that there was a dragon in this. If there's a dragon in this, I'm super excited about it. I'm gonna go to bed, but in the morning, I'm gonna go get my visa figured out, the first step. It's like a month-long process, and my visa expires at the end of the month. I did not put this off. This was not something I put off. I had to wait for paperwork to get in so that I could start the visa process, and I finally got that paperwork, and it's like go time. They just did not give me a lot of time to work with, but I now have it. Stoked about that. But when I come back, because I got the day off from work, random Wednesday off from work, we're gonna roll our first die, and then we'll start from there. Yeah, and I hope this is fun. It feels fun, but I'm also tired and delusional. We'll see if it's actually fun. Okay, I am freshly showered and partially immigrated. We spent all morning in the city going and getting our visas renewed. So we entered our initial paperwork, and then they send us paperwork, and then we send them money. I'm finished. I'm done. I showered. I'm also going to be going over my physical TBR for this month. So this is every book on my shelf that I have not read yet, including the books that I mentioned last night. I'm just going to list them off here, and then I'll give an explanation of what they are if I end up picking them during the Spookoplathon. So don't expect anything in depth right now. It's just going to be a list so that we kind of know what we're working with. There's so many pretty books here. I'm really excited actually. This is rejuvenating. Knowing how many books on my shelves I have not read yet makes me want to read them because they're normally just kind of mixed in for the aesthetic of it. Here's the list of the books on my physical TBR as well as the books that I currently have on my Libby app. A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. The Hedge Witch of Foxhall by Anna Bright. Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. The second book in the Crown of Feathers trilogy, Heart of Flames. The third book in the Crown of Feathers trilogy, Wings of Shadow. And for the sake of consistency and simplicity, Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palparetto, which is the first book in the Crown of Feathers trilogy. Is it called Crown of Feathers? Is that the name of the series? If it's not, that's really funny, but I'm not going to bother to change it right now. Next is Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright, Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, Nevernight by J. Kristoff, and An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, which I also have on Libby. On my Libby app, I have How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, The Witch Stone by Henry H. Neff, which I'm 45% of the way through. It'd be nice if I could add it in somewhere. Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Morena Garcia, and S.T. Gibson's Education in Malice, which I've already mentioned. Okay, I've migrated us over to the table where the board game is. You need 2 dice for this. I have my partner's really nice D&D die, and then I have a regular die because I can't find mine from D&D. I don't know, we haven't played in a while, but I also have my little figurine. She's a druid. So let's go over to the board. Okay, so I have my dice right here. I'm going to go ahead and roll them. 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Passed. So my first book is The Past, from a past TBR, a book I've been wanting to read. This was an easy choice for me, and that is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pau-Pareto. I wanted to continue the series and put it back on my TBR because I knew too much time had passed. I had forgotten the details and like the heart of what was going on and the character development, and it never left my TBR. It's been sitting here since I got to Japan. It's also the perfect time because I'm also going to be reading The Phoenix Keeper, which is also Phoenix centric. So I'm getting a lot of cozy, found family, Phoenix writers. What I remember from Crown of Feathers is 2 sisters are trying to get their Phoenix eggs to hatch. They're actually from a line of Phoenix writers that either died out or were conquered, and they are in secret trying to hatch these Phoenix eggs. One sister's Phoenix eggs hatches and she becomes a Phoenix writer. The other one does not, and they end up on opposing sides. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but this had very strong Song of the Lioness Quartet feelings, like the first book, Alana, this whole series by Tamara Pierce. It just had a lot of Tamara Pierce vibes that I really enjoyed, including person disguised as another gender, which has always been fun for me because it gives like an exploration feeling I always enjoyed when I was younger, and I didn't know what I was exploring, and it was just like a soft exploration, but I really liked how it was done in this. It felt modernized, it felt fresh, and I'm really hoping I enjoy it as much as I did last time. So that's Crown of Feathers, and this is the first book on my TBR. I think I'm going to pick one more just because I remember getting through this really quickly, and I think I will be able to again. And then as soon as I'm done with both books, this vlog will end and I'll start another one. That's my game plan currently. Okay, now for my second and final roll of this vlog. Oh, I'm so sorry. We have 5 and 5, so we have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A book with black on the cover. I need to go look at my options. Okay. So my second prompt is to read a book with a predominantly black cover. This time I have options. I either have An Education in Malice. I'm craving a book like this, so that could be nice. There is a little bit of other color, but there's a lot of black. There's A Sorceress Comes to Call, which is undeniably a lot of black. Like, this is majority black. Oh, and look, it has an undercover. That's really pretty. But then I also have The Familiar, which is a Libby book and one I've been waiting a really long time for. I only have 18 days left on it, and I was actually surprised that I got it because I got it a lot earlier than I was expecting, and I want to take advantage of that. Otherwise, I'm just going back on the waiting list, and it can be quite a long time. So I feel like this is my time to strike with The Familiar, and I'm going to strike. With that being said, I have The Familiar and Crown of Feathers to read for this vlog, and I'll check back in with you after I've started. It is getting late, but I just read the first few chapters of Crown of Feathers, and oh my gosh, I forgot how much I loved about this book. The world building is so good and immediately immersive. It's like walking back into this world, and I'm like immediately familiarized. It feels familiar, which is so nice, and it makes the story feel more grounded. I'm like, oh, I know you. I know this world. And some of the details are coming back to me that I did not remember. Like, some of my favorite tropes are in this book. I didn't remember there's 2 forms of magic systems in this book, and both sisters possess this magic. This is right off the bat a known entity, so no spoilers here. There are 2 magic systems. One is speaking to animals, and immediately you have Veronica, one of the sisters, in the mind of like an owl, and it felt right. It felt good. There's also another kind of magic system, and that is shadow magic, and that is more rare, but both sisters do have this, and it usually has like a pairing element, if I'm remembering correctly. correctly. So that has the ability to like reach into people's minds, and that's not always just mind reading, but it can be like a form of manipulation. The two sisters have very different principles and ways of using these magics, but another trope I really like is that the magic is actually outlawed, like magic is forbidden. So they're using this magic really secretly. Both of these sisters have this magic, but Veronica, who is our main perspective, she actually understands why this magic is outlawed. Like, she doesn't feel wronged by this. She sees the dangers of it and tries her best to try and be really respectful of this power that she has, while Val, her older sister and like her protector, because these sisters no longer have parents and their grandmother died, Val is a little bit more cutthroat and she's wanting to survive and keep them alive, so she is fairly ruthless with this power, because if they didn't use this power to like manipulate and steal, they wouldn't be able to eat, and so she's taking on like that guardian role. I am remembering Val and I'm already anticipating some scenes. Don't remember the details of how we get there, but I'm already trusting Nikki Palparetto to take me there. So I've been reacquainting myself with this world and I'm really loving it, but I also am looking at myself in this camera and I'm like, please go to bed. I washed my face and washed my makeup off. I'm looking rough. Hello. I had a pretty busy day at work today, but I'm home now. I've had dinner. We watched the vice presidential debate, and now I'm working on graphics for the Stuff Your Kindle event. It shouldn't have happened yet by the time you're seeing this if you're watching it as the video comes out. Essentially, it's an event where a whole bunch of ebooks are going to be free when normally they are not, and I am joining in that sale. It's been really fun to connect with a whole bunch of authors, and we're like just coming up with different ideas of like graphics and way of telling people. I might have to just add the graphic in later. Right now, I came up with an idea where it's like authors think whatever star sign will like, and then it has the book. So for Gemini, of course, I picked the Solstice Court because Kezra, the main character, is a Gemini, and her whimsical, chaotic energy really is what sets the tone for my book. I took Gemini since it was my idea. And then there's Taurus, The Unforgettable Tales of Adeline Bigsby. Faded Fragments is Aquarius. As an Aquarius, can I just say I absolutely love this cover. It's so gorgeous. I looked at it and was immediately like, don't know what it's about, but I, as an Aquarius, agree. And then for Sagittarius, I thought this was interesting. Sea of Dreams. It is a fire sign, but it also is very like adventurous, more curious, and analytical at times. I feel like it can groove with Sea of Dreams. Yeah, so far I only have those 4, but people on the Facebook group, they post their covers and they're telling me what sign they think will like their book best. The other one is for cozy fantasy. I'm a cozy political fantasy. It's not necessarily low stakes because of the Solstice Court being kind of a haven from the war that's happening in my world and the politics being more about like plumbing. It is a cozy fantasy. Honestly, Kezra makes everything a cozy fantasy even when it shouldn't be. Definitely a cozy fantasy book, even though it's political cozy fantasy. But in this set we have Cascade of Sparks, The Curse of the Arcadian Stone, and then Stolen Souls, The Healing Touch, Feathers of Dawn. Feathers of Dawn has actually been on my TBR for a long time. I've been eyeing this. I love this author's marketing style. They have animated graphics that always catch my attention. I always click on them. I always share them on Draconathon, so you might be aware of this book too. Premise is, what if the dragon kidnapped the knight instead of the princess? Queer cozy romance. That's like a premium plot for me. So I've just been having like lots of fun making these and like supporting other authors and finding out more about their books. And it's honestly just been an absolute blast of an evening. But speaking of cozy fantasy, I did read more of this last night. I tried to update. I was so tired. I looked back at the footage. It doesn't make sense. Like, not even in the fun ha 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 3 a.m. way. Like, I was delirious and I was trying to talk so seriously. I was slurring. The jet lag from getting back from my vacation has been rough. This, I think, could be considered cozy fantasy. There is action going on, but it is a little bit of a slower plot. Definitely getting to know the characters in depth. I love that it's multi-POV in a YA book. These characters are young adult, but it's more like the coming of age, where they're entering into this like awkward phase of adulthood. Them just exploring what it's like to no longer be a child anymore because they're leaving that part of their life, but they haven't left it yet. Fascinating. Also, phoenixes. The setup for this is so good. You can really get an in-depth feel of each character. The world feels very vivid, and a phoenix did enter the plot and oh my god, I forgot this scene. I'm not gonna give spoilers, I'm just gonna say damaging. A damaging moment. I am gonna go ahead, check Facebook one more time, and then head to bed, but I will check in with you probably again on this book at the 50% mark, and then if I start The Familiars tomorrow, I'll give my first impressions of that. I hope you check out the Stuffed Your Kindle event. I'm very excited for it, and the idea that I can give my book out for free to people who are maybe not Kindle Unlimited subscribers is really fun and happy for me, so make sure you check it out.
Wipe everything down.
You're such a girl.
Hello, it's been a hot minute. I've been doing some shopping and getting ready to decorate for a Halloween party. I fell a little behind, but I have two updates for you. First, I am about halfway through Crown of Feathers. I am loving this. I'm so glad that I'm still loving this because I have 2 more books, and now I'm actually motivated to read them because I'm kind of remembering the ending of this, and it's really kind of thrilling to get to now because I'm noticing more, I'm understanding more, and nothing in this book feels forced. Like, everything has felt right. It's felt correctly paced. All of the characters' connections feel very real and established. We have found family and academy vibes. Can I just say, I really love this one micro trope that just happened. It happens in Mulan. It happens in like a whole bunch of these. Alana, the first adventure. It always happens. The, oh, I guess we have to bathe scene. Oh, there's a river. This was so well done in this. It's at about the 50% mark. It was just fun to read. That's what this book is giving me. This book is giving me fun. I keep wanting to pick it up at oddball times where I normally wouldn't read. I see myself being like, oh, I have a few minutes, and I read a few pages. That's just a really good, nice feeling. I also started The Familiar. Let me check because the chapters are a little different in this. Oh, okay, so I'm 10% of the way through. I really liked how it started because we started in the antagonist's mind, or who I believe to be the antagonist. So just like starting a book right off the bat from like an antagonistic or like negative perspective is always really fun and interesting to me. So I really enjoyed that. And then our main character, I feel like we're being told a lot about her and how she's feeling, and we're getting snippets of her personality, but I don't feel like I know her yet. Which 10% in, we don't need to know each other, but I'm hoping by 30% that like we're clicked, we're in, which usually is around the time it happens for me. The only thing I keep having in the back of my head is that this is just so par for the course as far as Leigh Bardugo goes. I just keep thinking that while it's a different story and I'm finding the story really interesting and really well written, it just sounds exactly like all of Leigh Bardugo's other books. That's not a bad thing because she's such a good writer. I don't know, I keep wanting something a little bit more from her. If you love Leigh Bardugo, you're going to love this book. And I've liked her other books, but it's never been like, I don't get the sparkle, I don't get the tingle when I'm reading a Leigh Bardugo book, and so I'm not feeling that here, but I'm also feeling a consistency which can be really promising for people who are in love with her, and it's allowing me to just enjoy it and let it be, for better lack of a word, familiar. On to the next task at hand. I have been decorating my house, and like I mentioned before, we have a Halloween party coming up. We, as in the royal we of our friend group, are throwing a Halloween party, and we're actually throwing it at our friend's house. He has his family home, which is currently unoccupied in the countryside of Japan. We are going into this abandoned home, and we're decorating it for a Halloween party, and we're throwing a Halloween party in there. We're gonna be sleeping over, we're gonna have old horror movies playing on the projector, and drinks, and decorations. But I bought some decorations today, so I wanted to show those to you. These are all from the dollar store, by the way, so you're not about to get like premium decorations, you're getting dollar store Japan decorations, but they are really nice quality. I'm always impressed by these decorations. It's what I use for my house. That garland, 2 of those, and then then I have these all over my house as well. I got the red and dark orange ones, but this is what they had at the store this year, was the yellow and light orange. We got a bat balloon. I don't know what this party's trying to be. It's just trying to be Halloween. If it's kitsch Halloween, it's kitsch Halloween. I love all versions of Halloween. The scary, gory sides, the spooky sides, the cozy, warm, over the garden wall sides. Oh, which, speaking of, we're also doing movie nights every Thursday because Halloween falls on a Thursday this year. So we have rotating scary movies or Halloween movies that we're watching every Thursday. I'll put a list right here of all of the movies we're going to watch because we're still deciding. We just know we're ending on Halloween night with Over the Garden Wall. If you have not watched Over the Garden Wall, please go watch it. It's so good. It's perfect. The music alone, but also the art style, the atmosphere, the stories, the dialogue is adorable, but it amounts up to about a full-length movie. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, back to shopping. I got these bats last year and I put them all over my house. I never took them down. Like you can see them in the background. All of those bats. Then we have like these little holographic ghosts, black and orange pumpkin lanterns. This is gonna be kitsch, isn't it? So this little guy. Okay, we got more leaves and garland. We've got bat plates. And then I am doing a couple different drinks. First off, I'm doing lime jello shots with tequila, and then I'm also doing strawberry because it's red and it looks like blood, and one of my friends are vampires. We have a couple other like seasonal drinks and some ciders we're going to do. We got these cute little jars. They're plastic. Green jar. It's coming up kind of like teal. This little vial is what I'm gonna put like our shots in. I have more of them. I don't know what alcohol we'll put in this yet, but it's just too cute not to. I had figured out my Halloween costume, and so I have to do some online shopping, and then tomorrow I'm going to be doing some in-person shopping with my friend, and we're gonna have a craft day because we both are doing more crafty costumes. Finally decide what I'm going to try and be this year. The Halloween party is next weekend on the 13th, and I have not started getting ready for this yet, but I want to be a rosy maple. That's a type of moth. She's kind of the darling of the moth community, and she's iconic. I want to be her. I will try and be her. I will fall short, but I'm going to like give it my all. A week's worth of my all. Well, 6 days worth of my all. I'm gonna give it tomorrow. My books. Crap. So I had big plans for this vlog and it got so busy at work that every single time I was just crashing in bed. I was trying to get vlog footage, got to the halfway point of the familiars, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta update the vlog as soon as I get home. I was ready for it, and then I forgot. And then I continued to read because it got really good. I'm gonna get into that in a second, but the familiar got really, really good, and I was just listening to it and I moved on. I'm sorry. In my first update about about the familiar. If I'm remembering correctly, I was feeling like this was kind of like samey as far as Leigh Bardugo's voice goes. The story is very original. It takes place in Madrid during the Spanish Inquisition and follows our main character Lucia as she does small magics, and her mistress that she's working for catches her doing these small miracles or magics. This ended up getting very grim dark. It was incredibly intense. There is a romance in this that I didn't see coming because everything is so dark that I really wasn't expecting to get the little butterfly moments that I was getting, like something to root for, and I think it worked perfectly for this book. There were a lot of surprising deaths. I mean, it was all very fitting. I think I'm going to give this 5 stars. It's also with the caveat of saying it is still Leigh Bardugo's voice and she's not an absolute favorite for me, but I really did enjoy this book. I felt like it was very original. I didn't know what was going to happen next. Also, what was lending to me having like that samey feeling is I'm listening to the audiobook. The narrator, which I'm blanking on her name right now, the narrator for this book narrates like all of Leigh Bardugo's books. She is the voice of Leigh Bardugo. Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, and it makes it sound like all of her other books, which is such a weird thing. I usually really like associating narrators with authors. Maggie Stiefvater has a phenomenal narrator for the Raven Cycle series, and anytime he pops up, I'm like in it and excited. This did not work for me. Once I became heavily engaged in the story, I was in, and it didn't matter who was telling it to me. I think that it took me longer to get into it. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just like that same voice, but the story itself is incredibly original, and there was so much to this. Lucia really opens up as a character. There's a couple different scenes, man. I can't say anything about it. I'll just say this book was a for me book. Once it came down to it, I couldn't stop. I was listening to it in between classes, on my commutes, and then at night I would read this before bed and then turn my headphones on and listen to Familiar to go to sleep. I'm not sure if I'm giving it a 4.5, or a 5 star. I feel like in my bones it feels like a 5 star, but I also have been just giving those out so much lately. I want to sit with it, and I also want to finish this vlog up. So for now, put it in the I really, really, really loved this and enjoyed this range. I would actually be interested to know why some people maybe don't like it. I was going to watch some reviews of people. I might look some of those up later because I'm genuinely curious. I was so intrigued by this and it felt so original. I also really enjoyed the magic system the more I learned about it. It was just a really cool, unique, like soft magic using like words and translation. Moving on, I also finished Crown of Feathers. This was very easy to finish and I cannot believe it. This book is 471 pages, which I'm pretty impressed with myself, but it was a very fast read. I love the gayness in this. I really did not remember how genuinely gay it was. I also really loved the freaking romance and I just enjoyed myself. Really got completely different tonal shifts. It was comforting to me. This was my comfort read, and The Familiars was my highly engaged, like intense read, and the two together just paired really nicely. I love when that happens. Sometimes books will be too similar or too dissimilar where I can't get into the other one, but this was like just right. This was a sweet spot for me, and I'm really glad I picked these both up because I do need to pick up The Phoenix Keeper for Draconathon's Fable Book Club. I have to pick that up for next week. So whatever I roll in this next vlog, I will be adding The Phoenix Keeper to it because we're in crunch time now, but I'm very excited because this put me in the mood for Phoenix. I'm feeling a reading high and I haven't felt that in so long, but the idea of taking my makeup off, putting some pajamas on, and then going to bed also sounds and feels phenomenal. So I'm going to end the vlog here. I will pick up in the next vlog with my next set of rolls. If you are participating in Spookoplathon, what was your first roll? Are there any of the prompts that you think are going to be difficult or you're not looking forward to? I'm currently a little nervous about landing on the author prompts just because like they are so specific. I kind of want to keep grooving with what I've got here. We'll see how the dice roll. And if you're not participating in Spookoplathon, how is your reading month going so far? Are you dressing up for Halloween? What are you going to be? I would love to know. Please leave it in the comments below. But whether you do or not, I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. And until next time, bye!